Well, I'm pretty bored. I've just been in this hallway doing wheelies, trying to get the juices flowing, you know?
Please tell me you're kidding.
No, Epiphany doesn't think it's very funny. I've been trying to challenge other patients to drag races, and she's threatened to take away my wheelchair license.
Well, you're lucky that's all she threatened to take away.
You know, if you came down here, you'd sure help me keep out of trouble.
I don't really know when I'll be done.
Well, I'll wait up.
No, don't. You should rest.
I need a kiss from my significant other.
From your what?
You don't like me using the F word, so I came up with some alternatives. Intended, spoken for.
Girlfriend still applies.
Yeah, for now, but when I get out of here, I'm going to tell whoever I want that we're engaged.
Well, let's just focus on getting you on your feet first.
Look, I'm going to call you again before I crash, right?
Okay, bye.
Hey, I miss you.
I miss you too.
I didn't mean to scare you.
It's fine.
I'm looking for Kate.
She's not here.
Did she go out of town, or is this?
I don't know, and I don't know if she'd want me to tell you if I did know.
Why are you so mad at me?
I just told Dante that I can't see him because I'm swamped here, so the same would apply to having a conversation with you.
I know you blame me for Dante getting shot, but the good news is he's okay.
And I'm sure you're thrilled.
For whatever it's worth, I think you're good for him.
And you're not, and he knows that.
And, at least he has somebody by his side, and I hope that you two have a great life together.
Because if he had a wife, that would pull him back from putting himself on the line of fire, which would leave you free to conduct your business without your son getting in the way?
Dante taking fewer chances in his life is bad for you. How exactly?
No, it's not bad for me. It's bad for him. Because it's cutting out a huge part of who he is. He's a cop, whether I like it or not, and he's been shot twice. Once by you, and the second time because of you.
But the thing is, Dante's in the line of fire no matter who he's after, right? But if you put in a request, I'm sure that Mac will give him a desk job.
That's not even why he became a cop.
He would have just for you.
Oh, I'm sure he'd turn in his badge for me.
What are you waiting for? Ask.
You say that you love him.
Yeah, I do.
Then how could you want me to ask him to be less than who he is?
Okay, let's go with the first option. Dante takes a desk assignment. He's still a cop, keeps his badge, right?
And he's dead inside.
But he'd be alive for you, which is what matters. But he's not going to volunteer. So if you want him home safe and sound, you're going to have to insist on it.
This is all about what's good for me and Dante?
For me, it's a relief knowing that my son is not getting caught in the crossfire.
Uh-huh, and it also must be pretty difficult to not make a cop disappear because he also happens to be your son.
Don't you think it's easier for Dante knowing that he doesn't have to investigate his own father having to struggle with the guilt and the conscience and the whole thing, and the cops thinking that he's covering for me? This is a fresh start for Dante, and he's doing it for you.
Okay, so if you say he would quit for me, why don't you quit for him and for the rest of your kids?
You think it's easy? Just like that, I can quit? In my line of work, you go down a path, there's no turning back.
You have a choice.
Yeah, so do you.
What choice do I have? To ask him to change who he is and give up what he loves doing the most? My mom asked my dad to do that. We all know how that ended.
With all due respect, Dante's not Luke and you're not your mother, but he sees a future with you.
What future is that? The one where he goes to work and he never comes home? I don't know if I want that.
If you're so convinced that he's gonna die in the line of fire, you gotta do what's best. Break his heart first. Don't marry him.
Dr. O'Leary, call 5432. Dr. Kyle O'Leary, call 5432.
Evening, Officer Padilla.
Detective?
I'm guessing since Mac didn't come here himself and he didn't send Ronnie, you guys still haven't found the guy who shot me?
Because I'm only good for writing up parking tickets and making coffee runs, right?
Well, maybe you had too much coffee yourself.
Better than the blow-in caps I've seen squad members snort and pop with their antacids.
Really? Did you report it?
And kiss my career goodbye before it even starts? No thanks. The commissioner might not go as easy on some of the guys as He has with others.
I've never seen Matt go easy on anybody.
He let Officer Spencer slide.
Like he went through hell in that case.
Then he took a very convenient leave of absence.
Lucky he's a good man. He's a good cop.
Are those two one and the same in your book, Detective? Or does a good character somehow reduce the level of the crime?
Is this going somewhere?
Do you consider your father a good man, Detective?
So now you're telling me not to marry Dante. So what is this?
Well, you shouldn't have
reverse
to,
psychology
no,
or something?
No, you shouldn't have to live in fear. I mean, Dante wouldn't want you to do that, right? So if you can't accept what he does, the risks he takes, then it's part of his job. You got to let him go.
It's very easy for you to say.
It's not about love. I know you love him. It's about loving him enough to be honest. I mean, look, it's easy to live in a fantasy, but it's the day-to-day that's the hard part. If you guys can't be truthful about what you expect, what you want, it's going to end before it starts.
I don't want to hurt him.
Worst thing that you can do to Dante is tell him you can live in his life and then realize after the fact you can't.
Why do I feel like we're not talking about Dante anymore?
Where do you draw the line between personal and professional?
I don't know. Officer, where do you? I mean, you're here questioning me after hours. Is that because of your professional duty or personal ambition?
Well, call me ambitious, but I think whoever shot you needs to be off the streets.
I think you need to be off the streets and home in bed.
What's it to you?
Hey, look, I was a rookie too once, Officer Padilla. I know what it's like trying to prove that you can handle the grueling schedule, add into the mixture the sleep deprivation. It can seriously impair your judgment.
First of all, I am not a rookie. Second of all, one would think you'd be glad someone in this department is making the shooting a top priority.
I am.
No, you're not. Why is that, by the way? Are you hoping this case never gets solved?
Why wouldn't I want to find out who shot me?
Well, you were shot in a coffee warehouse owned by your father, a known crime figure.
Very good. So what?
So the person who shot you might work for your father, might even be your father. It wouldn't be the first time.
That's a massive assumption based on zero evidence. You know?
You were shot at point blank range in February 2009 at the home of your father.
Yeah, but I didn't know that he was my father at the time.
Strangely, despite being an experienced undercover officer with expert ratings in marksmanship, you somehow managed to shoot yourself, which you stated in court under oath at least 2 separate occasions.
I love your tone.
Only one I've got.
How does your husband like it when he comes home at night?
How does your fiancé feel about you not coming home at all thanks to your old
I
man?
didn't know about that.
I saw the ring when I went to your apartment and questioned Miss Spencer. Wait, Miss Spencer is your fiancé, which means your friend, Detective Spencer, the one you were just defending about being a good cop, despises his batch drug case, will soon be your brother-in-law.
I get it. You think that I'm being selective about who should obey the law and who shouldn't, right?
Well, I see a definite pattern of behavior here.
Your husband's a good guy, right?
What does that have to do with
Well,
anything?
would that come into account if he ever got in trouble with the law?
I didn't even say I was married. And I sure as hell don't talk about my personal life at work,
It's the
so...
perfume you're wearing. Like I said, Lulu wears the same one. It says a lot about you. I have to assume that there's a guy out there who appreciates it as much as I do when she wears it.
You done? Now back to your shooting.
Look, I told you everything I can about that night. It's looking more and more like I'm gonna have to solve this thing when I get out of here. Unless you take that as a personal challenge.
Unless you don't like what I find out.
Your doubts about marrying Dante do remind me of Brenda, because I didn't look beyond wanting to be with a woman that I love.
And obviously she didn't look beyond that either in the beginning.
Well, you know, we were lying to each other. We were living in some kind of bubble where the real world couldn't get through. You know.
Bubbles always break.
But she couldn't deal with who I was and what I do, so it didn't work out.
So she left.
And I'm having the same feelings about you and Dante, and I don't want him to be hurt.
I'm sorry, that rings a little hollow coming from you.
I would never set out to harm my own flesh and blood.
Why do you have to harm anyone?
This is not about me.
This is always about you.
Okay, Lulu, if you go ahead with this engagement and you know in your gut that there's no future there, you'll be knowingly breaking Dante's heart.
I'm sorry. I don't have time to listen to a lecture from you about hurting Dante.
Is that why you're here instead of the hospital? Because you've already made up your decision on the proposal?
That's between me and him.
Yeah, Do you have any idea where Kate went?
Maxie said she's out of town.
Do you have any idea?
No,
how
I
long?
don't. This is what she does. She takes off for one day or a few days. I don't ask questions. You should appreciate that.
All right, listen. Do the right thing. For your sake, for Dante's sake.
Hey, what are you still doing up?
Well, I told you I was gonna call you before I crashed. You still swamped?
Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow.
Let's try to make it better than a call. I want to see you here first thing in the morning. Be great.
Okay, just get some rest.
Look, this is the second time you've rushed me off the phone tonight.
Sorry. I don't mean to.
I know. I just, I love you.
I love you too.